New details on the upcoming meeting involving AEW President Tony Khan, CM Punk, Chris Jericho, FTR, and another non-wrestling related personality as CM Punk's return to AEW is on the horizon. Speaking of Punk, new details on the upcoming Saturday show. It's going to be called AEW Collision. It's going to be 2 hours. It's going to be on TNT, and we've got details on who the main star of that show is going to be. Speaking of Punk, as the rumors about his return continue to swirl, big names in AEW have reacted on social media. There's a lot of discourse. There's a lot of people going back and forth, and it's creating quite big waves. We've got as much reaction as we can to get through in today's show. FTR, they revealed how long they've signed new contracts with AEW for. Thunder Rosa responds to Britt Baker's recent comments about her. The firm deletion match has been announced by Matt Hardy on Rampage. Jay White will make his AEW Dynamite in-ring debut on next week's broadcast on TBS. Eddie Kingston's dealing with injuries. Got an update on how he's going to recover and possibly an upcoming surgery for him. Ray Phoenix is reportedly also banged up after a recent title defense. An update on the All-In pre-sale sign-ups for the London Wembley Stadium show. The AAA Mega Championship is going to be defended next week on AEW Rampage, and an update on the insane episode of Dark Side of the Ring featuring Marty Jannetty. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. Strap yourselves in. This is going to be a big one. This is going to be a long one. This is going to be an action-packed episode today, an action-packed video, an action-packed AEW news stream, because there is so much going on right now when it comes to the potential return of AEW. Some people are happy about it. Some people aren't happy about it. And my, oh my, we've seen a lot of reaction over the course of the last 24, 48 hours or so on social media, so we're going to try and get into all of it. So I'm going to do my very best to break this down as simply and as best as I can. Right, let's start off talking about this upcoming meeting. Now, more AEW names set to be involved with the upcoming meeting regarding CM Punk's future with the company have now been revealed. Amid speculation about CM Punk's AEW return, it was previously reported that an AEW meeting is planned with Punk and Chris Jericho set to attend. Per Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dax Howard, Cash Wheeler, and a non-wrestler personality, in addition to AEW President Tony Khan, will be in this meeting. Meltzer shared the following update saying, quote, "There is a meeting scheduled soon in AEW with Chris Jericho, CM Punk, Tony Khan, FTR, and perhaps one other non-wrestler personality. There is a lot more to this, but it has to play out." Now, Punk, of course, hasn't appeared for AEW since he was suspended following a backstage altercation that took place following his verbal tirade at the All Out Media Scrum last September. Now, when it comes to what Punk could be doing when he does indeed possibly come back to AEW, that's where the upcoming AEW New Saturday show comes into things. We've got an update when it comes to the AEW Collision show, what network it's planned for, and really the plans for it going forward. There had been a lot of speculation surrounding it. They were trying to put it on a par with AEW Dynamite on Wednesday nights because AEW Rampage is largely flopped and not a lot of people watch that anymore. So it was originally reported by Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast in March that AEW and Warner Bros. Discovery were closing in on a deal to add a third AEW show similar to Rampage, indicating a 1-hour series, and teased it could air on Saturday nights. Well, AEW recently filed to trademark AEW Collision for entertainment services with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, the rumored name of the new show. It was later reported the show might be premiering in July. AEW recently nixed a Rampage event from Friday, July 14 and added a TV event on Saturday, July 8 in Regina, Saskatchewan. Now, reports came out this week that CM Punk is returning to the promotion with the tentative plan for it to happen on the June 21 episode of AEW Dynamite at the Wintrust Arena in Chicago, Illinois. As previously reported, AEW might have an idea to ease the tension among those who don't like Punk and vice versa by putting him on the Saturday show and separating the roster by rating the roster, or really putting the roster between the two shows. A bit of a soft roster split, if you will. Andrew Zarian reported on today's Mat Men podcast that he'd been told the Saturday show will be premiering in June as a 2-hour program from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. The announcement is expected to be made in mid-May. He said, quote, "Here's what I understand. This show looks to be starting on June 17 in Chicago, a Saturday night show. I'm hearing it's a 2-hour show from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays." Zarian added, quote, "They may be preempted some days. I don't know. That's me interjecting based on how these things work. I also believe this is going to be on TNT. Multiple people I spoke to said probably on TNT, so that makes it even harder." Zarian noted the show is supposed to be called Collision. It was pointed out that there is not currently an AEW show announced for June 17th. That will likely change once the show has been officially announced. Saying, quote, "Maybe I'm wrong on the date. Don't hold me to. I believe I heard it was June. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? A Saturday show in the same building, then go back on Dynamite? Maybe I'm wrong here. Now, I'm very confused by this because I had something different in my notes. I'll check on it. Either way, I heard it's June. I heard the announcement is coming mid-May." The TV upfronts, where all the networks announce their new programming, takes place in a month just before the Collision debut show. On CM Punk, Zarian said, quote, "I think Punk is being very humble. I know that he really wants to make this work. From what I've been told, I think he realizes what an absurd moment this was for them. At the end of the day, he knows the importance of the wrestling business and the success of AEW and how important this is for the entire industry." So quite a lot of details there when it comes to the return of AEW's former world champion CM Punk. In addition to that as well, he's going to be front and center reportedly on this new Saturday show titled AEW Collision. It's going to be on TNT and it's going to be 2 hours. Do you think that can work? Will it work? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on AEW Collision. Now, Punk's return has generated a lot of conversation on social media, it must be said. Now, CM Punk, the AEW saga, it's been a major talking point in the wrestling world since the now infamous all-out media scrum and the subsequent backstage brawl with the Elite last September. As previously reported, Punk is expected to make his return at or around the date of the upcoming AEW Dynamite in Chicago on June 21st. After recent reports of the company making plans for his comeback, it seems that not everyone is excited to see Punk make his return. Now, replying to a Deadspin article with the headline of, quote, "CM Punk is gaslighting AEW," the Elite's running buddy Brandon Cutler commented on the story and simply tweeted the following. We'll get it up on the screen because, again, there's been so much reaction to this over the last day or so, saying, quote, "Someone gets it." Now, despite reports of Punk's willingness to work with the Elite following the backstage brawl between the two parties after All Out 2022, the Elite have reportedly, quote, "not been too keen on working with the former two-time AEW World Champion." The tweet from Brandon Cutler seems to indicate that the rumors and reports regarding the Elite's feelings towards a possible CM Punk return are true, but there is no confirmation on those rumors. Now, after he tweeted this, it must be said he then deleted the tweet, I believe, and put his account to private, so he wasn't happy with some of the backlash that he got as well. But it wasn't the only response to this. And again, it's not going to be the only response to this because apparently people in AEW can't help but go on Twitter. Darby Allin's promo a couple of weeks ago talking about wrestlers going on Twitter. It's very, very true. The next was Tay Mello. Now, whether or not this is directed at CM Punk, we don't know. But given the Deadspin article said that CM Punk was gaslighting AEW, then she posted this. Some people said, hey, that's got to be related. Now, Tay Mello tweeted out the following, quote, "Be aware at work, at home, and with friends," and posted the picture saying, "Gaslighting. You're being dramatic. You're overreacting. Stop blowing it out of proportion. There's no love in your voice. That's what you heard, not what I said." Now, in the same vein as the Brandon Cutler tweet, people responded to this, and apologies for the language here, it's going to get a little bit salty. Someone responded saying, "The roster is so effing full of children. Oh my effing god, including Chicago Phil, FTR Bold, your husband, every effing one. The only exceptions are literally the Blackpool Combat Club, literally." And then also seen in Spanish, I guess that is, or maybe Portuguese. I don't speak the language. But Tay Mello then responded by saying, "You are dumb and stupid as F. I don't F even know what you are talking about, you idiots. This effing post is not for anyone specific, and I also have a life outside of wrestling. So before I forget," and then had to go back at him in that language as well. Now, some people are saying it's not about anyone specific, it's just coincidental that this article came out talking about gaslighting, and then you post a definition of gaslighting. That's very interesting. Now, for more reaction, Kenny Omega, jumping on this and being, I guess, the consummate professional, decided this is what I need to do to promote an angle on AEW Dynamite. And that's exactly what he did. He tweeted out the following, saying, quote, "Since everyone is asking, I'll spill the beans. I have a huge problem with certain people on our roster, and they happen to be members of the Blackpool Combat Club. I'll speak more about it Wednesday on AEW Dynamite." The consummate professional, that is Kenny Omega. Now, some people lay the blame involved in all of this, or certainly the spark in a lot of this, at the likes of Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez. Well, Brian Alvarez had a bit of a rant of his own this week, and certainly it also got a lot of people talking. Now, during one of his podcasts in March, Dax Harwood of FTR discussed the CM Punk backstage altercation with the Elite and brought up wrestling reporters such as Brian Alvarez of F4W Online, saying, quote, "All these journalists are telling you a story, right? They're telling you a story from their living room or from their studio or wherever it is that they record their effing gimmicks. They're not in the locker room. The people that are telling them, they're the ones who are spinning the story. These people don't see it firsthand. They don't know if I've complained. They don't know what happened with CM Punk and the Elite. They don't really know. They know what they've been told." Alvarez issued a response to Harwood during Wrestling Observer Live saying, quote, "I think he's trying to create in the minds of fans this idea that I don't like them. And I don't know why, because I've never been anything but complimentary. But the funny thing is, the more he goes on with this, he doesn't like me. He's got a problem with me. And this is like, I'm having a problem with this now, which I never had before. What do I have to do with anything? What do I have to do with any of this? I'm also upset that I have to hear, oh, it's Brian and Dave's fault that this happened. No, you know what? It's not my fault. Anything that's happened that's caused an issue isn't my fault. If you did an Instagram post and then I reported on it and there was heat or you got mad at somebody, that's not my fault. I didn't write the Instagram post. I didn't punch anybody in the locker room. I didn't get in a fight. I didn't do any of that. If you're upset that something happened that I reported or Dave reported, you know what the problem is? The problem is the fact that it happened. That's the problem. So I'm about done with it. I'm about done with hearing that it's my fault. I'm just telling people what happened. That's it. I'm not picking sides. I'm not trying to start a fight. For weeks now, I've been having to hear this, and I've been trying just to stay off of it. Now, Alvarez saying he's not picking sides and he's not involved in all of it. He's just telling people what happened. Do you agree with those comments? Do you think he's accurate of what he's saying there? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I think that's going to be interesting, people's opinions on that one. Now, Dax Harwood, then obviously, because of what Brian Alvarez said, I mean, honestly, I told you guys, this is very convoluted, but because of what Brian Alvarez said, people on Twitter continued to do their thing, and they then went at Dax Harwood. In a post on Twitter, Harwood noted that he saw a tweet from a fan who noted they would have rather seen AEW release Harwood and keep Cash Wheeler. Harwood reacted to this negative fan by writing, quote, "Woke up this morning reading a lot of bad stuff about me. I'm not sure why. Either way, hoping I lose my job and my means of providing for my family ain't it, though. It's sad that every day I have to remind myself that social media isn't real life." In addition to that, his tag team partner Cash Wheeler has since responded on social media about all of this stuff now going on involving FTR, CM Punk, Brian Alvarez, and others. He tweeted out, quote, "Dax is one of the best people you could ever meet. Passionate about wrestling and family, protective over his friends, especially when people don't know everything. He's not afraid to speak up and not do it anonymously. Honest to a fault. We all need to do better to fix this situation. Everyone involved. No fingers pointed. No one is completely innocent. I respect everyone involved and want the best for AEW. I am tired of reading negativity from both sides, fans and wrestlers. Real life is more important. Enough." And do you agree with what Cash Wheeler is saying there? Saying they need to move past this. They need to stop going on social media. They need to stop believing what some of the writers say and all that kind of stuff. Let me know your thoughts about this whole situation in the comment section below, because it is kind of wild, isn't it? Now, steering back to actual stuff that happened on television, FTR were on Rampage last night and they revealed how long their new AEW contracts are. Dax Howard and Cash Wheeler, collectively known as FTR, signed with AEW in May 2020. They were coming off a successful WWE run, which they became the first ever WWE Tag Team Triple Crown winners. Since they joined AEW, they've won the AEW, Ring of Honor, AAA, IWGP Tag Team titles. Their contracts were coming up on April 2023 and they took some time off to make a decision. Following their return at AEW Revolution, FTR defeated the Guns in a titles versus AEW careers match to win the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Howard subsequently confirmed that he and Wheeler re-signed with AEW. FTR appeared on the April 14 episode of AEW Rampage, and Wheeler addressed the uncertainty surrounding their futures. He stated that AEW had 4 more years of FTR, and he implied that they signed 4-year deals. Wheeler also revealed that they would retire after the deals were up. He emphasized that their mission was to prove they're the best tag team of all time. So 4 more years of FTR in AEW, and once their contracts are up, they're done and they'll retire as a tag team and I guess as professional wrestlers as well. The drama in AEW isn't strictly related to just CM Punk and the Elite and the people surrounding that situation. There's been drama when it comes to the women's division as well, particularly Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. Former AEW Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa has yet to return to the ring since she was forced to relinquish the AEW Women's World Championship back on August 24. Rosa has since returned backstage to the company, providing color commentary as part of the Spanish announce team. There was reportedly a backstage meeting to iron out issues between Rosa and the women's locker room ahead of her return. Issues between Rosa and Britt Baker crept back up again recently when a quote from Baker from the debut episode of AEW All Access claimed that she still has the same questions about Rosa's status. Baker then clarified her comments, claiming she didn't question her injury status, but rather the fact she doesn't show up while injured. Rosa appeared on Busted Open Radio this week, where she spoke about Baker's recent comments, saying she wanted to drop the title the day she relinquished it due to injuries. He said, quote, "First and foremost, I want to make sure people understand. At the beginning of this drama, everyone was speculating that I wasn't her. It was proven that I was her. There are MRIs, they talked to my doctor, I had multiple epidurals. I'm still not cleared. I had another MRI last week and the pain is still there. For me personally, I wanted to drop the title the day that I couldn't wrestle because they told me I was going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. My boss made the decision and said, you're going to be the champion and we're going to have an interim champion. For me as a competitor, I wanted to make it fair so my peers had an opportunity to defend the championship because it wasn't fair that I wasn't there. I wasn't going to be there. I was going to hold the title. The problem comes, and this has been the question raised about me not showing up, I wasn't booked to go there. When I got the news that I wasn't going to keep the title, it caught me by surprise. Today is the day, okay. I wasn't able to go. I wasn't able to get in the ring and say, guys, unfortunately, we made the decision. Here's the title. Thank you for the opportunity to let me represent. That opportunity wasn't given to me. That's pretty much it. Rosa continued on, confirming that she had apologized and how she now just wants to focus on the women's division. She added, quote, I just want to make sure we focus on the women's division now. I'm not there in the ring. I'm not a superhero to be able to get in the ring. We have to respect the people who are now representing the company. I have talked to the locker room. I took accountability for the things that some people had issues with me, and I went out there and apologized. That's the best thing I can do. I want to make money. I want to make sure I can work with everyone, regardless if we have any issues or not. At the end of the day, I'm booked to wrestle. Unfortunately, I can't wrestle right now. I'm human. I don't pretend to be superhuman. I'm not here to be a martyr, and I don't want to be a victim. Right now, there is no storyline between Britt Baker and I. God is my witness. Every morning and every night, I pray to God that there is one thing I want to do and one thing only. Not to get the championship, but to settle this in the ring for once and for all and wrestle Britt Baker and show the world what real professional wrestler is. So she says she's apologized, and she says that she wasn't asked to come to Dynamite when the championship was announced to be relinquished. So again, certainly very interesting. And what do you make of the Thunder Rosa Britt Baker drama too? Now, Jeff Hardy is back in AEW, and Matt Hardy wants to delete the firm. For months, Matt Hardy and Private Party have been contracted to the firm. Ethan Page initially mistreated the duo, but Hardy gradually struck up a friendship with him. However, it was all a ruse, as Matt betrayed Page on the April 5th episode of AEW Dynamite and revealed that he snuck some stipulations into the contract he drew up for Page's match with Hook. Matt explained his actions on the April 12th episode of AEW Dynamite and teased they had a match lined up that could secure the Hardy Party party's freedom. Jeff Hardy, who had been absent for nearly 10 months, then made his return and saved Matt from being attacked by the firm. On the April 14 episode of AEW Rampage, Jeff Hardy commented on his return and noted that he battled his way out of his personal hell. Matt then revealed some of the details about the match he secretly put in Ethan Page's contract for his bout with Hook. Matt stated that he, Jeff, Isaiah Cassidy, and Hook would face Page, Lee Moriarty, Big Bill, and Stokely Hathaway in the firm deletion. Matt noted that the match will be held at the Hardy compound, but he did not name a specific date. As of this recording, this match will mark Jeff Hardy's first match since AEW Double or Nothing 2022. Hardy was arrested for DUI in June 2022, and he was subsequently suspended by the company. As previously noted, he returned on the April 14, 2023 episode of AEW Dynamite. So that could be Jeff Hardy's return match in All Elite Wrestling. Jay White is going to make his AEW Dynamite in-ring debut next week. Jay White will make his AEW Dynamite debut in the ring since officially signing with the company when he takes on a big star in Commander. After the match was announced on television, Tony Khan tweeted about the upcoming bout, writing, quote, "This Wednesday, April 19, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Wednesday Night Dynamite live on TBS. Jay White versus Commander in Jay White's AEW Dynamite debut. He'll fight the Incredible Commander on TBS this Wednesday." So certainly going to be a big match. What are your thoughts on Jay White's in-ring Dynamite debut this coming week? I'm switching gears here to Ring of Honor, and after being pulled from a New Japan Pro Wrestling appearance this weekend due to injury, Eddie Kingston later announced he had sustained a hernia and would likely need surgery. As it turns out, Kingston had been dealing with the injury since last September, but a new report confirms he had downplayed the issue for months. According to PW Insider Elite, who reached out to Kingston after the promo, the Mad King's injury is 100% legitimate. As he explained, he initially thought his injury to be a pulled groin, so he tried to work through it. But as the months passed by, the injury became progressively worse, and upon a medical evaluation after Supercard of Honor, AEW medical staff noticed the issue was more extensive than Kingston had let on. What he suspected as a pulled groin was actually a hernia, and as a result, Kingston will indeed need surgery to address it. PW Insider Elite also stated that Kingston has been extremely apologetic for trying to meander his way around the medical staff. As Kingston came up in the sport in the early 2000s, he was conditioned to fight through the pain, but as it's now 2023, Kingston now recognizes that many of the performers and promotions have shifted away from that philosophy. Still, shaking off a long-time ideology is no easy task, Kingston admitted. Before Kingston was diagnosed with a hernia, he challenged Claudio Castagnoli for the Ring of Honor World Championship at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor pay-per-view on March 31st. The two fought a hard battle that reached over 20 minutes, but in the end, Castagnoli retained. The timeline for Kingston's surgery and return has not been disclosed at the time of recording this video. Now, he's not the only Ring of Honor star that's banged up and hurt at the moment. The other is one half of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, Rey Fenix. Don't expect to see Rey Fenix around for a little while, regardless of recently being crowned as one half of the new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. This part of the Lucha Brothers is taking a bit of a break. According to PW Insider Elite, Phoenix came out of his title defense with Penta El Zero Miedo against Powerhouse Hobbs and QT Marshall at last week's Battle of the Belts at less than 100%. As a result, he was not at AEW Dynamite on Wednesday and has not been advertised for Triple A's Triple Mania this Sunday either. It's believed that the issue could be his hip, but the exact details as to the nature and extent of the ailment are being kept under wraps at the moment. However, it is significant enough that the call was made for Phoenix to take some time off and recuperate. Of course, this isn't the first time that Phoenix has been bitten by the injury bug before in AEW. A dislocated elbow in January 2022 suffered in a Dynamite main event, put him on the shelf for several months before he had recovered and was cleared again for in-ring competition. So hopefully, in addition to Eddie Kingston, Rey Fenix gets well soon. Now, lots of people are talking about still, once again, if AEW can fill up Wembley Stadium for the AEW All-In pay-per-view, though ticket sales for AEW's recently announced All-In show at Wembley Stadium in London won't begin for the general public until May 5th. Fans are currently able to register to receive a pre-sale code, giving them priority access to tickets starting on May 2nd. If the number of people who signed up for the pre-sale registration is any indication, the demand for the event is set to be quite high. According to PW Insider, more than 50,000 people have registered for the pre-sale code so far. While registration for pre-sale is far from an exact indicator of ticket sales, it does show that many people have at least an interest in attending the event. AEW's highest attended show to this point is AEW Grand Slam in 2021, which had 20,177 people in attendance. That means the company only has to convert a fraction of the all-in pre-sale registrations into single ticket sales in order to achieve its highest live attendance in AEW's short history, with Wembley Stadium's maximum attendance capped somewhere at around 90,000, certainly less than that with a wrestling setup, and nearly 4 months between an on-sale date and the event itself. It seems incredibly likely that All In will break the AEW attendance record. So, as of right now, there's no official word on any matches for the event. That hasn't stopped people from speculating or throwing out dream matches, including those within AEW. As I mentioned earlier on, Dax Harwood, one half of FTR, he's put forward the idea of them teaming with CM Punk at All In, with their opponents being Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Whether that happens, particularly after some of the social media posts, again, we'll have to wait and see what happens when it comes to that one. Now, next week on Rampage, we're going to be getting a title match from AAA. El Hijo del Vikingo will defend the gold on the April 22nd episode of AEW Rampage. During the April 14th episode of Rampage, Jose the Assistant spoke on Dralistico's behalf and challenged Vikingo to a match for the AAA Mega Championship. Later in the show, the broadcast team announced that Vikingo will put the title on the line against Dralistico on the April 22nd episode of AEW Rampage. Vikingo made his AEW debut on the March 22nd episode of AEW Dynamite, where he lost to Kenny Omega. He defended the AAA Mega Championship against Commander at the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor pay-per-view on March 31st. Commander first wrestled for AEW on the March 1st episode of AEW Dynamite, where he competed in the face of the Revolution ladder match. He also wrestled on the April 5th episode, where he lost to Sammy Guevara. Next week's episode of AEW Rampage will air on Saturday, April 22nd, rather than its typical time slot of Friday due to TNT's coverage of the NHL playoffs. Finally, and I guess on a bit of a lighter note, but actually quite a dark note because it's Dark Side of the Ring, Marty Jannetty is going to be a focus of one of the upcoming episodes in Season 4 of Dark Side of the Ring, and the episode apparently is absolutely nuts. Vice recently revealed that the long-awaited Series 4 of Dark Side of the Ring is set to commence airing in May, with 10 more episodes shining a light on some of pro wrestling's darkest and most sordid times. One of the subjects of Season 4 is that of Marty Jannetty, with the episode on the former Rocker said to be, quote, completely nuts, according to the Wrestling Observer Newsletter's Dave Meltzer. Jannetty has become an unwitting poster boy of failure in pro wrestling, despite his accomplishments across the AWA, WWF, and WCW. To be the Jannetty of a tag team is seen as a massive insult to the recipient of such a tag. Indeed, Jannetty himself was fired and rehired by WWE on several occasions, with his career hampered by substance abuse issues, with an arrest for drug possession in 1992, seeing Jannetty placed under house arrest for 6 months after assaulting an arresting police officer. In the more recent years, Jannetty has made several bizarre and X-rated claims on social media, with the former Intercontinental Champion claiming made people disappear when he was a teenager. It's nuts. And, I mean, just doing a little bit of a Google search on Marty Jannetty, you'll get some crazy stuff, so heaven knows what we're going to see in this episode. But there you go, guys. This is the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.